So it seems that found footage operates under one universal law. The worse the situation gets, the more important the footage becomes. These movies pretend that the camera is real, that the events are real, and that these people need to document this footage. This camera is the single most important thing in their lives. You could be getting stabbed, but as long as you get it on camera, you're okay. These movies have no music to warn you when to be scared. There's shaky camera, garbage lighting, and that's why it's good. It feels real, it's not a set. You are in the event, and it's coming for you. Today, we're going to be taking a deep dive into found footage. The highs, the lows, and the weird. The movie Creep follows our protagonist, Aaron, who is a freelance videographer. This guy's broke enough to look at the sketchiest ad possible on Craigslist. It lists that it's a one-day job, there's no experience needed, and that he's a totally normal guy.
Hey.
If you have to say you're a normal person, then you might not be. He's hired by Joseph, who we learn is a fucking weirdo. Way to give the Joes a good name, bro. Joseph claims he's dying of cancer and wants to record a video diary for his unborn child. He uses this to be emotionally manipulative towards Aaron. Is this a cruel manipulation tactic? Yes. But is it effective? Also yes. From the moment Aaron meets Joseph, something feels wrong. Joseph immediately begins oversharing, crossing personal boundaries, and treats common social norms as kind of just suggestions. This guy's weird. Aaron keeps trying to rationalize it because, like, when someone's paying you and you're in a very shitty situation, you kind of just side with the unfortunate guy. But things start escalating pretty fast. Joseph ends up putting on a wolf mask. He asks Aaron to film him naked in a bathtub. He switches between charming, aggressive, and deeply insecure with zero warning. Every red flag is here. Every warning sign. It's like a shining beacon. Yet the guy just keeps filming. And then, the straw that breaks the camel's back. Aaron gets a phone call, finding out that Joseph is having a child. But it's with his sister. It's an incest rape baby. I don't have to tell you why that's not normal. At this point, Aaron realizes Joseph is completely lying about being sick. Well, he's sick in the head, he's just not, like, ill. He sees that Joseph is far more dangerous than he pretends to be, and Aaron cuts contact with him and leaves, but Joseph persists. He keeps messaging him, playing victim, acting lonely, and then starts sending threats and stalking, and slowly it ends up pulling Aaron back in, out of fear. The movie ends with Aaron agreeing to meet Joseph one last time. We watch Aaron sitting at a park bench, relaxed, waiting for Joseph, trying to keep his cool. Joseph peers behind him and just kills him. We get to see Aaron is just one of many, many victims of Joseph. The end of this movie has no dramatic build-up, no rising tension, no audio telling you, oh my god, he's behind you! It's just silence, peaceful, and then it ends. It's taking the real world example of life can just end and showing you that from our perspective. The abrupt ending that really adds the extra fear factor. It's not a scripted scenario. This can just happen. And I think this is a fantastic way to show a found footage movie because I'm sure this has happened in real life. This really strange guy who ends up meeting a normal person and just ruins him. So that was Creep. A fantastic reason on why you don't answer someone's Craigslist posting and go deep into the woods with them by yourself. I mean, who would have guessed that could have gone wrong? Whatever, let's take a break from the forest and go to the suburbs, you know, maybe make a friend with a ghost or something. This next spectral spooky movie follows Katie and Micah, our protagonists, in this really nice suburban house. And we view their situation from their home security cameras, quickly showing that it is very, very haunted. Katie explains that the supernatural presence has followed her since childhood, and Micah hears this and just isn't about that bullshit. So Micah decides, you know what, I'll buy a camera, let's see if we can catch something, I'll set it up in the bedroom. Yeah, right, bro, okay. At first, very little happens. Until the door moves, ooh, footsteps appear, ah. And Micah, he gets more confident that there is no ghost. Bro, you have proof on camera. You have proof that something is happening, and you're more convinced that nothing's going on? What? Whatever. They end up calling a psychic, who clearly explains that this is a demon, and that provoking it is a terrible idea. Micah listens carefully, nods, and then decides to go do the exact opposite. Once we get to the end of the movie, Katie becomes completely possessed. She stands motionless beside the bed for hours, and in the end, kills Micah, and walks towards the camera with a blank stare. The footage cuts out abruptly, the ghost decides it's had enough of this low-budget film, and the movie ends. As far as I know, and from what the explosion at the box office shows, this thing's profits alone caused found footage movies to just whoa! This movie is probably the reason why found footage movies exploded as a genre in general. They went from 1 or 2 movies a decade to now being an entire subgenre of horror. And because of its now growing popularity, that subgenre grew more subgenres and more shitty sequels, and things just progressively get worse. It's not the best genre of horror. Arguably, all the originals that these movies come from are better than all the sequels. Especially this one.
Hey, get out of there! Hey, it's near our house!
Fuck, that movie's bad. Okay, so what did we learn? Demons hate disrespect. I could have told you that. You mess with someone's peace and all that shit, they're gonna get upset with you. Just, whatever, forget all that. Let's just move on from ghosts. Let's go see what happens when you try to film a giant building-sized monster from about 3 feet away. That's why we get the movie Cloverfield. It's presented as found footage that the government found from the wreckages of, well, Clover, the giant monster that attacked New York. The footage follows Rob and his friends at a farewell party. Rob is moving to Japan, and the idiot, HUD, is filming. He was just handed the camera at a party and mistaken documenting a party for a personality trait.
So, how do you want to do this? Do you want to do most of the talking, or do you want me to do most of the talking?
You're not doing any talking.
Okay, cool.
I mean, I was taping. Oh, yeah, I can show you. Hey, you guys, I have it on tape.
This guy's annoying as fuck. Anyway, mid-party, an explosion hits the city. The power goes out. The Statue of Liberty's head lands in the middle of a street. So what are you doing in that scenario? Mid-party, power goes out, explosions start happening. You walk outside, Statue of Liberty's head's in the middle of the road. What? Already not a good sign. Turns out there's a massive monster attack in New York. And this party video suddenly becomes a survival documentary. As the group tries to escape, Rob learns that Beth, the woman he loves, is trapped in her apartment. So instead of leaving the city like any normal, responsible human being, decides, let's go find her. Because, you know, he wasn't just planning on leaving seconds ago. I burped and completely forgot where I was. This decision is stupid. He was about to leave and go to another country, but now because there's a monster, he decides to risk his own life and all of his friends to make sure that this one chick is okay. Pussy whipped. Anyway, as they travel through the city, the military tries attacking the monster. Buildings are collapsing and small parasite creatures fall off the monster and start attacking civilians. The footage in this movie is chaotic. It's shaky, disorienting. Honestly, it looks pretty accurate to what it looks like when you're running with a camera. This movie did it all right. Which makes it honestly more terrifying, as this is what we would see footage-wise from a real monster attack. One by one, though, Rob's friends start dying, trying to help him. Yeah, great plan, Rob. The final scene shows them hiding under a bridge as a monster approaches. They both say, "I love you," The city is bombed, and the camera cuts out. However, the camera cuts to a brief flash back to a happy moment before the attack, their last date together, just to show you what love they had has been lost, as well as a tease to what may have just been caught on camera as the catalyst for the whole event that began the movie. Okay, so forests, cities, suburbs, nothing seems safe. You know what? Let's try going to Paris. No, that place isn't safe either. In this movie, we follow Scarlett. She is obsessed with finishing her father's research and finding the Philosopher's Stone somewhere buried inside the catacombs, which is a giant burial ground underneath the city that really does exist. There's bones everywhere, tons of conspiracies, cults, all crazy stuff, disappearances and death. Why would you go down there? Whatever. She goes to assemble a team that includes guides, explorers, and for our sake, a cameraman, because we need someone to be our eyes. They enter the catacombs illegally, and they head deep, deep underground. At first, it's just narrow tunnels, skull-lined walls, but then the environment kind of starts breaking logic. Paths end up looping, rooms are rearranging themselves. They start seeing hallucinations, random flashes of their guilt and previous mistakes. Well, if it isn't obvious at this point, they are lost. They are deep in some shit. They're in some other dimension. They're in some recreation of hell. Each character is forced to confront something they've either been avoiding or have caused. Some can't handle it and just end up dying. Scarlett realizes the only way out is to stop chasing her ego-driven success based on her father's legacy. Just accept responsibility and fucking leave. The last of the survivors escape through an exit that turns out to be the same entrance that they went in, but upside down. This symbolizes that they've come out on the other side after surviving hell and will never be the same after what they just went through. Which feels fair to say. I don't think I would either. To be fair, I don't think I would have survived. So all in all, I've just learned that the closest thing to hell is France. And that does not surprise me. But maybe let's take a trip to Grandma's house, right? That's innocent and fun. Nothing's gonna go wrong, right? In the visit, we follow these two kids. I've already forgotten their names. We follow these two kids, Becca and Tyler. Becca wants to be a filmmaker, and she documents the whole trip. Oh my god, girl, twinsies! Things start to get a bit awkward though, some kind of legally concerning stuff, grandma running around naked at night, clawing at the doors. I mean, my grandma doesn't do that, but if yours does, I'd call someone, probably. The grandpa becomes really controlling and aggressive. The whole time the kids keep recording, because at this point, the camera's kind of like an emotional support object for them, and they need the footage to show that they're not crazy and that they ain't seeing things. This is happening. They need proof. Eventually, they show the footage to their mom, who immediately realizes that something's wrong. The people the kids are staying with are not their grandparents. I feel like you would have clocked that, when dropping them off instead of just throwing them out of a car. Anyway, the real grandparents were murdered. And these two are escaped mental patients who stole their identities, and then they start hunting the kids by the end of the movie. With the kids escaping at the end, this makes it one of the few found footage movies that actually end on a good note. And also with damn near no blood spilled. Well, other than the grandparents off camera. But they made it out. It was a happy ending. You don't normally see that. And before we end this video, we need to look at the movie that defined this genre, created the entire modern version of found footage. This movie was so convincing, it started an FBI investigation. Let's look at The Blair Witch. The Blair Witch Project features our three main characters: Heather, Mike, and Josh. They traveled to Burkittsville, Maryland, to make a documentary about a local legend known as the Blair Witch. Heather the leader of the group, insists that everything's going to be fine. Mike is skeptical, but goes along. Josh is kind of just there to help. He doesn't really seem acquainted with Heather, he's just kind of like the friend. Before entering the woods, they interview locals who casually mention stories about child murder, disappearances, and supernatural events, all of which, would have had me ending the trip immediately. I'm not going to investigate that. I'm not going to be the next victim. But, instead of them calling it quits, the group decides to head into the forest, confident that Map's cameras are all going to be good vibes enough to protect them. Things at first seem calm, they hike, they joke, they're just film students making a documentary. And then the noises start. The noises late at night. Weird rock piles are appearing outside the tent. Stick figures are hanging from trees. They've had enough. When they try to leave, they somehow keep walking in circles. Eventually the map gets lost.
I know, and I've always had the map in the same place, and if it's not there, one of you had to have taken it.
Tensions rise. They start pointing fingers. Hunger, fear, and exhaustion takes over. These guys are starting to hate each other. Josh ends up disappearing after hearing voices calling his name into the woods. Heather and Mike go and search after him. As things grow more frantic and unhinged, eventually they find an abandoned house deep in the forest. It's falling apart, there's handprints on the wall, strange symbols everywhere. Something here is very wrong. In the final moments, Heather finds Mike, standing motionless in the corner, facing the wall, referencing an earlier story told about how victims were forced to stand in the wall while a killer murdered their friends. Heather screams, the camera drops, and the footage ends. No witch was ever shown, no explanation was ever given. The camera was just found, but the people weren't. What was it? What happened? We'll just never know? Well, we did when the sequel came out. There was a really shitty CGI version of just a monster running through a house. But if we ignore that, this is a fantastic mystery because there is no answer. The movie doesn't physically scare you, it mentally does. It takes your imagination and expects it to do all the damage. It's messy, you don't expect anything to happen, it's unsatisfying. It's just like a real-life disaster. It's an unpredictable mess. That's why this works so well as a found footage movie. So that's that. Found footage isn't about the scary horror movie monster. It's about people realizing that they've made a mistake far too late, and that we see their final moments there on screen. It works because it feels accidental. It doesn't feel like it's been made to be watched. It feels like it has genuinely been found. There's no epic battle, there's no grand finale. The movie just ends because the situation did. And it's usually never positive. So next time you're watching a movie and someone says, "Ooh, let's get this on camera," this isn't just a movie anymore. This is evidence of their final moments. I hope you enjoyed this video and our little tour down found footage. If you'd like to see more, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm Joe Condiment, and thanks for watching.